Hey there, everyone. Ready for another deep dive? Today we're tackling something that's especially relevant for you UPSC aspirants out there.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a topic with the potential to pop up in both prelims and mains, India's submarine ambitions.
Yeah, and it's not just about defense tech. It's got major implications for international relations, economics, the whole shebang.
Exactly. So let's jump right in. India is actually pursuing a two-pronged approach here, procuring submarines from abroad, building their own.
A bold strategy for sure.
Right. So first up, we've got Project 75I, the plan to acquire 6 diesel-electric submarines internationally.
The winning bid for that one went to Mazagon Dock Shipbuilders Limited, partnering up with Germany's ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems.
But there's been a bit of a hiccup. The cost has ballooned from 43,000 crore to a staggering 70,000 crore.
Now that's a hefty price tag. Raises some serious questions, doesn't it? Is it justified? Could those funds have been used more effectively elsewhere?
Those are the kind of questions UPSC examiners love. They want to see you think critically about defense spending, strategic priorities, the whole picture.
Absolutely. And for those of you focusing on international relations, this deal is a gold mine. It showcases India's strategic partnerships, especially in light of,
China's growing influence.
exactly. It's all connected.
Okay, so that's Project 75I, the international acquisition. But now let's talk about India's homegrown efforts, Project 76.
This one's all about indigenous development, designing and building a conventional submarine right here in India.
And they're not messing around. They're aiming for a 90% to 95% indigenous content. Think weapon systems, sonar, periscopes, the whole 9 yards.
It's a massive undertaking, a real testament to India's push for self-reliance in defense technology.
And speaking of self-reliance, it ties in perfectly with the whole Atmanirbhar Bharat narrative, right?
Oh, absolutely. This project ticks all the boxes. Boosting domestic manufacturing, creating jobs, and propelling India onto the global stage as a major defense player.
And let's not forget the technological advancements that come with it.
Right. Developing these systems indigenously will have ripple effects across industries, materials, science, engineering, software development.
It's a long-term investment in India's technological prowess.
No doubt about it.
Mm.
So where are we with the timeline for Project 76?
CCS approval is expected in about 2 months. Then it's a 2 to 3 year design phase, followed by 5 years for construction.
So we're looking at roughly 8 years before this made-in-India submarine hits the water.
But it's not just any submarine we're talking about here.
Yeah.
This is a 3,000-ton behemoth.
And get this, it'll be capable of launching land attack cruise missiles, LACMs, from its torpedo tubes.
And just to add another layer of wow, those LECMs are also under development in India.
It's a clear signal that India is not playing around.
They're serious about projecting power and deterring any potential adversaries.
Now, 8 years might seem like a long time, but
Rome wasn't built in a day, right?
exactly. Building a submarine from scratch is incredibly complex, incredibly resource-intensive.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. But the payoff: a more self-reliant and assertive Indian Navy capable of safeguarding India's interests in, let's face it,
A rapidly changing world.
couldn't have said it better myself. And here's the kicker. India isn't just choosing one path.
Nope, they're going for both Project 75I and Project 76 simultaneously.
Talk about a balancing act.
It's a testament to the complexities of modernizing a military in the 21st century, figuring out how to manage international collaborations while bolstering indigenous capabilities.
It's almost like a textbook case study in strategic decision-making,
Right.
balancing the immediate need for advanced equipment with that long-term goal of self-reliance.
And let's not forget the financial tightrope walk, managing these ambitious projects while addressing other pressing national priorities.
It's a fascinating scenario, and trust me, this is the kind of thing that could easily show up in your mains exam.
Definitely. It underscores the need for a holistic understanding of defense policy. It's not just about hardware. It's about economics, diplomacy, technology, and
India's place in the global landscape.
precisely. Now, to really grasp the significance of these projects, we need to zoom out a bit and look at India's current submarine fleet.
Right, get the lay of the land, so to speak.
Exactly. Right now, they've got 17 conventional submarines, but here's the catch. Many of them are getting up there in age, nearing retirement.
Oh, I see. So even with these new projects, there's still a need to, well, keep things afloat in the meantime.
Precisely. It's a bit of a mixed bag, too. Acquired over the years, 7 Russian Kilo class, 4 German HDW, and 6 French Scorpion.
Kind of like a diverse submarine portfolio, each with its own quirks and maintenance needs.
Exactly, and each with its own strategic implications, too. It's a logistical puzzle for sure, keeping them all running smoothly.
I bet. Speaking of strategic implications, let's talk about the real game changers. SSNs, those nuclear-powered attack submarines, those are a whole different ballgame, right?
No, absolutely. They're the pinnacle of submarine technology, and India definitely has its sights set on them.
And what makes them so special? Is it the whole nuclear thing?
Well, that's a big part of it. Unlike their diesel-electric counterparts, they have virtually unlimited endurance. They can stay submerged for months at a time, limited only by the crew's needs.
Wow, that's incredible.
It is, and it gives them a massive tactical advantage, allowing them to operate far from home and carry out a much wider range of missions. Think sea denial, power projection, crucial concepts for any UPSC aspirant.
So basically, it's like going from a bicycle to a supersonic jet in terms of capability.
You got it. And for a country like India, with its vast coastline and ambitions in the Indian Ocean, SSNs are a game changer.
So the big question is, when will we see India's first homegrown SSN out there patrolling the seas?
The estimated induction timeline is around 2036-37, a ways off, but developing such sophisticated technology from scratch takes time.
2036, 37, huh? Interesting. That also happens to be the target for India's first indigenous aircraft carrier, right?
Yeah,
Seems like the late 2030s is going to be a pivotal period for India's naval power.
it certainly seems that way. It makes you wonder, could this signal a larger strategic shift for India? A move towards a more assertive, more outward-looking defense posture?
That's a great point. And for our UPSC aspirants out there, this is where things get really interesting. It's all about connecting the dots.
Right. You've got to think about the geopolitical context, China's growing naval presence, the evolving security dynamics in the Indo-Pacific, India's aspirations to be a net security provider in the region.
It's like a giant puzzle, and understanding these submarine projects is just one piece.
Exactly. It's not about memorizing dates and names. It's about understanding the motivations, the challenges, the potential consequences. That's what sets apart a good UPSC answer from a great one.
And don't forget the economic angle. Developing a strong domestic defense industry has ripple effects throughout the economy.
Absolutely. It creates jobs, spurs technological innovation, and reduces reliance on foreign suppliers. A win-win on multiple fronts.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, from acquisition strategies to indigenous development, from the current fleet to the SSN ambitions. It's a complex picture, but it paints a fascinating picture of India's evolving naval strategy.
And for those dedicated UPSC aspirants out there, this is pure gold. It's a chance to dive deep into the strategic thinking behind these developments, to analyze them in the context of India's role in the 21st century.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground here, but let's bring it back to you, the dedicated UPSC aspirant out there burning the midnight oil.
Right, because at the end of the day, it's not just about knowing the nuts and bolts of these submarine projects.
It's about understanding what the implications, the strategic thinking, the big picture stuff.
Exactly. The UPSC exam is all about connecting the dots, analyzing complex issues, and thinking critically.
So let's do that right now. Let's think about the broader implications of India's growing submarine capabilities. How might these projects, Project 75I, Project 76, the whole push for SSNs, impact India's role in the Indo-Pacific over the next decade?
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And one that's sure to spark a lot of debate.
Yeah, for sure. But that's what makes it so fascinating. So let's throw out some ideas here. A more powerful, more self-reliant Indian Navy. What could that mean for India's posture on regional security issues?
Well, it could certainly embolden India to take a more assertive stance, be more proactive in addressing security challenges in the region.
Right. And it could also strengthen India's partnerships with other countries that share similar concerns
About China's growing influence, right. We could see closer collaboration with countries like Japan, Australia, the ASEAN nations.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe even a more active role for India in multinational naval exercises, security arrangements, that kind of thing.
It's definitely within the realm of possibility. But of course, there's always the flip side to consider.
Right, the potential downsides.
Exactly. Could this lead to heightened tensions with China? After all, a more capable Indian Navy could be perceived as a direct challenge to their maritime ambitions.
And could that trigger a regional arms race? Or even increase the risk of conflict? Those are serious considerations, ones that policymakers can't afford to ignore.
Absolutely. And this is exactly the kind of nuanced analysis that UPSC examiners are looking for. They want to see you grapple with those complexities, weigh the potential benefits against the risks, and form a well-reasoned argument.
So for all you aspiring diplomats and policymakers out there, put on your strategic thinking caps. Think about the potential flashpoints, the South China Sea, the Indian Ocean, the Malacca Strait, all those crucial areas. How might India's enhanced submarine capabilities alter the balance of power in those regions?
And how will other regional players react? It's like a giant game of chess, with each move having ripple effects across the board.
And speaking of ripple effects, let's not forget the economic angle. A strong navy isn't just about security, it's also about protecting sea lanes, securing trade routes, projecting economic influence.
Right. It could play a key role in India's economic rise, helping to solidify its position as a major player in the global maritime domain.
It's really fascinating to think about all the possibilities and how these submarine projects are just one piece of a much larger puzzle. A puzzle about India's strategic ambitions, its role on the world stage, its vision for the future.
And for UPSC aspirants, this is a topic you'll want to stay on top of. Track the progress of these projects, pay attention to any news or analysis, and be prepared to discuss the implications in detail.
Because as we all know, the world doesn't stand still. Geopolitics is a constantly evolving game, and India's role in it is only going to become more prominent.
So stay informed, think critically, and connect the dots. Those are the keys to success, not just in the UPSC exam, but in navigating the complexities of the 21st century world.
We hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought and maybe even sparked some lively debates in your study groups. If you have any questions or if there are other topics you'd like us to explore, let us know in the comments below.
And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the world of current affairs.
A huge thank you to The Hindu for their excellent reporting, which made this episode possible. Until next time, happy studying and best of luck in your UPSC journey.
See you in the next one.